I'm very excited to introduce one of the most revolutionary brands in the industry.
The most revolutionary
No,
brand
just
in the-
that one up. The first. Okay.
안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. So, Roger B, is the brand strongly associated with the term hyperhorology?
Sure.
My viewers may not be familiar with the term, so what does it mean and how is it different from a more well-known term like high horology?
It's a very good question, and it allows me to explain what we are trying to do at Roger Louis. Clearly, we cherish horology, high horology, as you mentioned, and this is where we start from. You know, we start from the tradition of fine watchmaking, and then we evolve it. Roger Louis, it's always concentrated on the future, and our way of doing things is a bit different than our colleagues and competitors. We say that we do our interpretation, which is a more contemporary and expressive interpretation of horology, fine watchmaking. And we do it because that's in a way embedded with our DNA. Since the very early days of Roger Louis, we've been pushing the boundaries of watchmaking. We've been exceeding the limits of the industry, trying to reinvent the watchmaking in our way. Hyper, in fact, stands for beyond. It's a Greek prefix which means beyond. And the purpose of Roger Louis is that of always going beyond. So it's a very consistent message which at the end defines what Roger Louis is all about. And beware, hyperhorology has been patented by Roger Louis. It's a trademarked by Roger Louis, so it's only us.
Okay, so nobody can use that.
Nobody can use that.
Okay, that's amazing.
That's not good. Something's going on our booth, you know. We are, at Roger Louis, we always say, expect the unexpected. I think it's one of those moments when something unexpected is happening.
Since we are at the Watches and Wonders, we need to talk about new products. So what are the wonders from the most revolutionary brand?
I love the word wonder because in fact this year we came with something that will make people wonder, will make people imagine the future of watchmaking. We came with what we call a platform. It's a timepiece, it's a talking piece, it's a concept watch which shows all the innovation, all the craftsmanship and all the performance that you can find at Roger Louis. It shows the last 3 years of research that we put in the watchmaking world. It's a very complicated movement, split seconds chronograph, built in the most traditional way, on which we added 3 innovations, 3 patents. The first one is a new tourbillon system, which we designed, we invented ourselves. Second one is a new oscillating mass, so a new what we call turbo rotor, which is going to put energy into the movement. And the third one is a new way to display chronographic minutes. But we were not satisfied. We are never satisfied. So we decided to design a brand new case, which shows in fact the future of our Spider collection. And finally, we crafted everything in this incredible red material, which is called MCF, which is a proprietary material we developed internally at Roger Louis, lighter than ceramic and lighter even than carbon fiber. So very comfortable on the wrist. All in all, a stunning timepiece, which really shows the future of watchmaking.
Like this new concept watch, Roger B is famous for introducing new concepts, new complications to the watch world. So if we are to try to understand this brand, what are the top 3 complications from Roger B that can help us to understand your brand?
Very good question. I need to dig into my memories to see what I can mention. First of all, that Roger B masters all the complications that belong to haute horlogerie. Minor repeaters, perpetual calendars, split seconds chronograph. So we've been the master in the tourbillon for so many years that we are really showing all our horological prowess in everything we do. That said, if I have to choose 3 specific timepieces, I will go for our first skeletonized tourbillon, which was launched between 2005 and 2008. There were a few iterations to get to the final product. At first, we took a simple tourbillon, we opened it, then we were not satisfied. Roger was still overseeing the production, so he knew exactly what he wanted. And then we ended up having the first skeletonized tourbillon built to be a skeletonized tourbillon, and that was a key moment. And even today, the majority of our production, I would say most of our production, is skeletonized calibers, because that's where we can show the prowess of Roger. That's where we can show how good we are,
How sophisticated
we are. Second timepiece, a kind of another revolution in the watchmaking world. In 2011, we came up with an incredible, crazy idea. Our master engineers, Greg, our strategic product director, decided to launch himself into something inexistent at that time. We've been playing with 4 regulating organs, the obsession always being that of performance and of making sure that we reach performance through the control of gravity. So 4 regulating organs, 4 balance wheels, all working at the same time with a differential that averages the force between them. It was called the Quad-Work, a 48 millimeters timepiece, which still today our clients are looking at, are cherishing, because it was an incredible discovery. And if I had to go for the third one, let me be contemporary. I would say the one we have in our window out there. The concept watch we are presenting now is really a step forward into the watchmaking world.
So this year is a really important year for Roger B. Yeah.
It's a really important year, but every year is really is an important year, because we keep innovating, we keep coming with novelties. You know, in the past, if I think about the past 3 years only, we came with the Diabolus Machina, our incredible minor repeater. We came with the Superbia, where we introduced a new cut for the stones and a new way of setting stones on a timepiece. We came with Blacklight, where we started introducing sapphire tubes inside the movement which react to the UV light. We came with the Glomia, where we put light into diamonds and stones that were bright at night. So as you can see, we never stop, and every year is a new milestone for us. So stay tuned, because we will continue amazing the world with our incredible creations.
While doing lots of experiments, Roger B still managed to be Geneva Seal certified. I was having a hard time to understand why Roger B, a revolutionary brand, needs this kind of old standard. Roger B wants to present itself as a rule breaker, future shaper, or something like that. So why is the Geneva Seal old standard relevant to Roger B?
Very good question. Let me say that if you want to invent the future, you need to master the past first.
Aha!
We always say that we start from the tradition of watchmaking to then evolve it. It's also somehow something embedded in our history, in our DNA once again. Roger Dubuis, one of the founders of the Maison, studied not far away from Geneva. But then he only worked in Geneva. He studied in the Watch Academy, where he learned how to make, to design, to invent, to craft movements. And for him, the only way to do a watch was following the Geneva Seal, the Bronson de Genève. So for us, it's always been the only way to make our watches. It's also a way for us to celebrate the place where we were born, the place where we live. The Geneva Seal is a certification which is, again, strongly embedded with the Geneva Canton. You can only obtain the Geneva Seal not only if you manufacture in Geneva, but if everything comes from this region, from this area. And so for us, it's a kind of a way also to gain credibility to the world, because it's not us saying how good we are, it's an external institution who's certifying the way we do things. If you follow the Geneva Seal, that means that every single component has to be finished by hands. And that, as you can imagine, means to increase the time you need to finalize the timepieces, the resources you put into manufacturing it, the quality you get out from this craft. So all in all, I think this is the only way for us to be. There are less and less maisons, less and less brands in the world who are using the Geneva Seal. As we speak, only 4 in the world, and we are by far the most intensive one. I've declared that within the next 3 years, we're going to be 100% Geneva Seal. That's going to be our objective very soon, to get to that level.
But I'm still curious. Geneva Seal is made by traditional watchmaking people. In order to give their certification, they need to understand what the new watch is. If Roger Dubuis truly made something really revolutionary, then how can they give?
You're right. The world of watches is evolving throughout the years. Materials are new, technologies are new, and Poinçon de Genève was created in 1896 with 12 rules which are still the same today. So clearly it's a matter of understanding each other. What they want to preserve is their watchmaking heritage. Now, we have a very close discussion with the Geneva Seal. Gregory, our strategic product director, meets them on a regular basis, because it's interesting what you are saying. How do we make sure that new technologies and new materials are still certified by the Geneva Seal? And I give you a very good example. A few years ago, we came up with a movement completely crafted in carbon fiber. It's probably one of the lightest movements in the world, and it was an amazing craft. But clearly, you couldn't finish it with the requirements of the Geneva Seal. So we sat with the committee, and we found a way for it to stand out as if it was following the criteria of the Geneva Seal. We've been working with the finishing of the screws that are inserted into the carbon fiber, and we have been polishing them so that at the end the contrast and the sophistication we reached by this contrasted finishing gave a kind of the same feeling as if it was certified by the Geneva Seal, and we ended up certifying it. So it's also this constant relationship we have with the institution, with the committee, that allows us to keep on certifying also the latest creations.
That's really a fascinating story.
Yes.
So there is some kind of interaction between Roger Dubuis and the old standard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. In South Korea, Roger Dubuis is surprisingly famous among non-watch people, younger generation. So it has something to do with superstars wearing Roger Dubuis. But other than that, what makes Roger Dubuis so successful at speaking to younger generation?
First of all, let me say I'm very proud to hear that younger generations are following our maison. Indeed, it's exactly what we are trying to do. We want to appeal to younger generations. Just because we are a very young maison, only 28 years of history, and our message is quite appealing for the new generations. You know, we talk about hyper-horology, but we also talk about hyper-life, a place where you enjoy the most beautiful things in life. But Roger Dubuis is a place of emotions, very strong emotions, that we live, for example, with our motorsport partners, and then all the expression of the brand that we live together with our partners in urban culture. Both universes resonate pretty well with young people. And so we are very pleased that we see progressively our client base becoming younger and younger. There is another point. What we are seeing more and more is that younger generations do not necessarily appreciate the luxury codes that their parents were attached to.
That's true, that's really
They
true.
want something different, they want something new, they want something more hype, they want something more expressive, they want something contemporary. And that's where Roger Dubuis comes into play. So, as I said, super happy about that.
Yeah, that's great.
Go Korea.
Since your brand is particularly successful at speaking to younger generation, there should be some kind of entry point. if I'm not mistaken, there's no simple entry-level dress watch from Roger Dubuis at all. So if I'm a first-time Roger Dubuis buyer, then what would you recommend?
Well, first let me explain a little bit why. The why we don't have, well, we do have entry level, but our entry level is a different entry level than most of our colleagues and competitors. The point is that we were not competitive at the lower level because of the way we do things. You know, I mentioned the Geneva Seal. I'm sure you can imagine how much we invest into research and development to get with all the innovations we come up with. So there are a few things which make our craft extremely expensive to produce, to manufacture. At the same time, there was another point, which is the fact that we wanted to make sure people could see how we do things. And the skeletonized architectural movements, calibers, is the only way for us to show exactly the Geneva Seal finishings, the attention we have to detail, all these incredible savoir-faire that we have, our watchmakers and engineers have. Unfortunately, that has a cost. And so we decided to concentrate on where we can really add value to our timepieces. And I would say that the two main points of entry for Roger Dubuis are the Huracan, so the Spider Huracan on one side, and our Excalibur monobalancier on the other side. It's let's say less sophisticated calibers. We don't have complications yet, but beautiful timepieces to start understanding what hyper-horology is.
Even at the entry level, you still want to give some kind of the essence of your brand. That's why.
That's exactly what I was saying. It's a good starting point to understand our hyper-horology and the world of Roger Dubuis.
Lots of high-end watchmakers are reluctant to participate in the digital world because it is too democratic. Everyone has access to everything. And if they participate in the digital world, it may hurt their heritage, high standards, or something like that. So they are just dashing away from the online world. But Roger Dubuis seems to be quite confident about the online presence of the brand. And you have your own SNS team, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So what makes Roger Dubuis so confident about the online?
Well, I have to say I respectfully disagree with my colleagues who say that the digital landscape is not for fine watchmaking. As a matter of fact, I do believe that between social networks and the digital evolution, that is one of the causes, of the root causes of the explosion of fine watchmaking in the last 3 years. You know, it's exactly because fine watchmaking has been democratized that we are seeing the great success of most of the brands who are out there. At the end, it's the evolution of the technology. Everybody talks about the fourth industrial revolution. We are testifying an incredible moment in the history of humanity because everything is changing so fast. I do believe that you can't resist moments like this. I mean, the best way to make the good use of this new tool is to embrace it and find how you can make it good for your own needs. Now, we have seen that the digital world cannot be alone. Although for some time, because of the pandemic, we have been forced to get into the digital landscape. Now it becomes a tool you can use. And at Roger Dubuis, we love to get into the digital landscape, but we also need to make sure that we keep physical world within our ecosystem. At Roger Dubuis, we talk about phygital, which is the connection between the physical world and the digital world. The most important thing is to have a consistent message among all the different touch points we have with our clientele. And the most important thing is to be able to convey the same experience we can have physically on the digital world. And this is what we invest on, which we are trying to develop at Roger Dubuis in the last few years. But I think there is no way you can resist. And I think the digital channels, like for example the e-commerce world, is something that is going to become more and more important. The convenience of the tool, the convenience of the channel is what makes it very appealing for our clientele, for example, when they cannot go to a specific physical place, they still have the possibility to access our brand from anywhere anytime with any device. And that's key.
You can be still exclusive, but at the same time can.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I think our message is very inclusive. But then our craft is exclusive. You know, we have this inclusivity as a maison. We like to take people within our world because it's the hyper life. But then our timepieces are exclusive by definition. You know, all the most beautiful things in life do not come in big quantities. It's very complicated to make them, and it's sometimes complicated to get them.
While other watch brands see contradiction between exclusivity of their products and inclusivity of online ones, but you find there an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right. So,
And you need to grab every single opportunity, always.
what can we expect from Roger Dubuis in the near future? And
I think you know the answer.
Yes, sir.
That before.
Yeah.
Expect the unexpected from Roger Dubuis.
right. Thank you for your precious time. I know you are really busy since this is the last day of the Watches for your.
As always, a pleasure to talk about Roger Dubuis. I hope I was able to convey our message and to tell you what hyperology is about. I invite all the people who have seen this to come and see what we do in our boutiques in Seoul. Our team is waiting for you to show you what hyper life is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was
so
a
much.
pleasure.
Yeah. It's
Bye-bye.
bye bye.